We are seeing corporations, we didn't expect this, we expected institutional interest, but we didn't expect corporations to substitute Bitcoin for cash. MicroStrategy was the first. All of its cash is now in Bitcoin, and in fact, it did an offering so that it could buy more Bitcoin. Square has put 5% of its assets into Bitcoin. And we're seeing more mature companies like PayPal enabling the buying and selling of Bitcoin on its platform, as Cash App does as well. Well, if companies in the S&P 500 were to put 1% of their cash into Bitcoin, that would increase the price of Bitcoin by $40,000. Today, it's close to $30,000. So that's more than a double right there. If we saw 10%, of course, that would add 400,000. And I just told you, MicroStrategy has put all of its cash in. Perhaps emerging markets will be faster in terms of adoption. But we have been very surprised at how quickly this has happened in the United States. Institutions are going to have a significant impact on Bitcoin's price. We're seeing all kinds of evidence today. I just gave you some about corporate cash, but we have the OCC. Last July, they allowed custody banks to federally chartered banks to custody Bitcoin. And just within the last month, they have allowed banks to actually become nodes on any public blockchain so that they can enable much less expensive and efficient settlement. So that is again, a little faster than we would have expected. We've seen Fidelity, the infrastructure has certainly been moving into place for a while. Fidelity, the Intercontinental ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange, the CME, and Cambridge, the consultant wrote a paper about, it was a little more than a year ago, basically telling institutions, hey, this could be a new asset class. And it has a very low correlation. In fact, it has the lowest correlation if you compare Bitcoin with all the other major asset classes out there. It has the lowest correlations of any other combination. So we believe that here you can see that if our analysis on how institutions will look at allocating to this space is correct, and this is using a Monte Carlo simulation, institutional involvement could increase the price of Bitcoin. Again, it's 30,000 now, by 200,000 if they want to minimize volatility, to 500,000 if they want to maximize their Sharpe ratios.
You know, when China tried to shut down Bitcoin, basically in various ways shut down mining and trading, it migrated to Japan, South Korea, Vietnam. They became centers. So it's like, I don't know if you have the game Whack-A-Mole, you whack this one, it'll pop up somewhere else, right? And that's what's happening with it, because it's decentralized. There's no choke point. And if you'll notice, Bitcoin is not, or I haven't seen it mentioned much, in the same context as Libra. And it's because there's no way the governments can stop it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed that Bitcoin was kind of the hot thing sort of this time last year.
Yeah, this has taken the heat off of Bitcoin. Now, India has banned all cryptos, including Bitcoin. And the penalty is jail time for using it. Wow. So maybe that will work, but maybe it will backfire, right? Because in this world, all you have to remember, if you're worried about confiscation of wealth, either directly, as in Saudi Arabia, or indirectly through inflation and a depreciating currency. Let's say the Indian population wants an insurance policy against that. All they have to remember is a key it takes a lot to remember this, but there's no gold that can be confiscated. This is digital gold. You can't confiscate it. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
So do you see Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general only getting stronger as the years progress?
Yeah, I think in watching the drop in the Bitcoin price from $20,000 at the end of 2017 to $3,000 in the early part of 2019, it's now back to 10,000, of course. We've witnessed an increase that Bitcoin's share of the crypto asset network value, think market cap in our language, but network value. So there are more than 2,000 crypto assets. Bitcoin share has gone from the low 30s since that peak at 20,000 to roughly 70%. And so what that has told us, or the way we interpret it, is that Bitcoin is the reserve currency of the crypto asset ecosystem, which is an exalted role. And so our confidence has increased for that reason. It's also increased because of confiscation of wealth that we are seeing in the form of hyperinflation in Venezuela and Zimbabwe. Now Argentina's in trouble. So these Hong Kong's, boiling over. And so this idea of Bitcoin as an insurance policy against actual confiscation of wealth, or confiscation of wealth because government policies are destroying purchasing power, we think that's a rising concern around the world, and that Bitcoin is an antidote. And we've dimensioned it in many ways, but that's at least a $2 to $3 trillion opportunity. And that's just for the super wealthy if they decide to have an insurance policy, whereas Bitcoin today is roughly at a $200 billion market cap. So a long way to go just for that one use case.